This is just my opinion. I cannot accept more than 3 clients a day because making sure that the quality of the lash set is very important to me. I need to make sure that each lash is isolated. No ifs, ands, or buts. Hey guys, it's Lash and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel, and if you are a returning subscriber, go ahead and like this video. As you can see by the title, today's video will be mistakes to avoid as a beginner lash tech. I did make a video on how to actually become a lash tech in 2024, so if you haven't already, go ahead and check that video out. So we're just gonna get right into it on mistakes to avoid as a beginner lash tech, and these mistakes are very important when you're first starting out. So let's jump right into it. The first mistake to avoid as a beginner is having poor management skills. So this is very important because when you're first starting out, there are a lot of expenses and a lot of startup costs when you're first getting started. Now, whether you're starting out from home or whether you're starting out in a salon suite, there are startup costs. So some startup costs would be paying for salon rent if you're starting out in salon. If you're starting out at home, it may be a list of lash supplies you may need, your lash bed, your materials, your lighting, your decor. These are all startup costs when you are starting out as a beginner lash tech. So you want to just keep track of those startup costs. It'll be all organized and you'll know how much it is to actually come out of pocket with the startup costs. So that's keeping track of your deposit if you're in a salon suite, your room decor, your lighting, your lash bed or your lash chair, and your lash supplies. So those are just all startup costs when you're starting. The next expense will be your monthly expenses. Now, in a salon suite, there's a deposit and there's weekly fees. Some may be different, but I know when I moved in my very first suite, my fees are every week. Now, you can start off in contracts, you can pay monthly rent, but I know for the most part, if you're renting out a salon suite, the fees will be weekly. So there's business expenses and there's personal expenses. If you want to do this full-time or plan on doing this full-time, writing out your personal expenses and how much your personal expenses is going to cost, it plays a big factor in just managing where your money will be going to. So you have business expenses and you have personal expenses. And when you're writing those lists down, just basically track of every expense that you have. Now, if you're working part-time and you're doing lashes on the side and you plan on, making this out of a business, I do recommend just keeping track. Just keep track. Like, it doesn't even have to be anything big. You don't need an accountant. You can just get you a spreadsheet or you can even use pen and paper. But just keeping track of those monthly expenses will help you stay organized and keep track of where all of your money is going and what you have left over. So after you track all of your monthly expenses, your personal expenses, your business expenses, then you can actually see how much of a profit you are making. And if you're not making any profit, which is very normal in the beginning, that's good. But to just keep track of those expenses, you'll already be within motion, you'll already be organized, and you'll already have things set in place when you do begin to make a profit. Next thing with managing your money is basically separating your business money from your personal. So I do recommend when you're starting out and you know that you plan on growing, you a separate card or a business account. Getting a business account is very important when you're starting out because you want to be able to separate your money. Even if you're just starting out lash tech and you're like, I just want to do this on the side, it's very important to just separate your money so you'll know what you're making from your lash business and then you'll know what you're making from your job. If you're working a 9 to 5, I wouldn't have my direct deposit going into my business account or whatever separate account you have. And if you're lashing, I wouldn't have my lash money going into my personal account. You have to keep it all separate. I also do recommend getting you a payment processor. Payment processor is basically where you take payments, and this is very much a professional way. I do not recommend taking Cash App, PayPal, Apple Pay, none of those, because you won't be able to track your money that way. The payment processor actually helps you with your sales. It helps you keep track of how many clients you got in for the month, and then over time, as you start to grow, you also get like advances and loans from your payment processor. So keep that in mind. I do have Square, and I use Square for my payment processor. So that is what helps me manage my money, manage how many clients I get, and manage my monthly income. Those are what you need to focus on in order to better manage your money, over your startup costs, going over your monthly business and personal expenses, and having a payment processor in place, and also separating your business income from your personal income. So the next thing I have on my list of mistakes to avoid is improper isolation. So when you're taking on clients, you want to be able to isolate their lashes the proper way. Just practicing every day and making sure you're isolating each lash and keeping the lash away from the eyelid 2 or 3 inches away. Because if you don't, you'll have a bad reputation on your name, and you don't want that. So just keep in mind on making sure you practice isolation as a beginner. A lot of the times, it may take us hours. So when I first started, it took me 4 or 5 hours for my first full set. Just be very open to your clients and communicate with them and be like, hey, I'm a beginner lash tech. I usually spend about 4 or 5 hours on my full set, and I just want to make sure that I am properly isolating your lashes to avoid any allergic reactions, any redness, or anything, because you don't want to have that reputation on your name. You don't at all. The next mistake that I would avoid as a beginner lash tech is buying low quality lash supplies. I do recommend, if you are practicing like on your lash mannequin or on some sponges, that is the only exception. But I would not use any low quality supplies for my clients. And eventually you're gonna have to find a lash applier who sells quality products. Now, glues are starting at $50, $60. Tweezers are, about maybe $20, $30. So just creating a budget and working towards buying those quality supplies. Whereas if you're buying them off Amazon and your tweezer drop, it's over with. Or you're buying glue that dries up fast, or you're buying those gel pads that doesn't have any moist by the time you open them. So investing in quality supplies will help you on your lash journey. Buying lash quality supplies is a 10 out of 10. Like I recommend it, if you are practicing on a mannequin or a sponge, buying those cheap supplies to just help you practice. I'm not about to spend $50, $60 glue just so I can practice on a lash mannequin. I'm sorry, I'm just not doing it. So many lash suppliers who sell very good quality lash supplies. And when I first started out, I started using Lift Bay. Lift Bay is kind of like my main lash supplier that I use. I get all of my glue from them, my trays, my tweezers. And also I use Sheen for mascara ones or lip ones, or maybe like some tape. But the main 3, which is like my tweezers, my glue, and my trays, they all come from Lift Bay. The next mistake to avoid is proper training. Now, I know it's kind of like a thing now where some people are like self-taught. I'm a self-taught lash tech, or I'm a self-taught makeup artist. It's good to be self-taught, but it's also better to have a professional certificate or a licensing under your belt. This makes you more credible when you have a professional licensing, a professional certificate. So I recommend basically doing your research, find a credible and a professional lash training. And if you need to go to school, go to school. So what I did was I ended up going to school for cos. I didn't know that I was going to be lashing. I thought I would be doing hair, but at the end of the day, that licensing, I can do lashes under that licensing. Even though there's no requirements in my state, there are different rules and different regulations for each state. So if you need to go and get your aesthetic license, go do that. If you need to go and get your lash license, do that. But having proper training where someone who is experienced more than you, and not just YouTube videos. YouTube videos can be helpful in the beginning, especially when you can't afford a lash training. That can be helpful in the beginning, but when you're able to pay for a lash training, I recommend going to either get your license or going to get a professional certificate from someone. And there are many people, many lash artists are offering lash courses, lash training. So just keep in mind that having a professional license and a professional certificate will make you credible as a lash artist. The next mistake to avoid is having poor customer service. Now, I know y'all been hearing in the social media streets about, oh, her booking site, she has all these caps and she's yelling, or she sounds rude in her booking site. Trust me, I don't like that either. So starting out, you can be very professional and let your clients know, like, hey, these are my business hours. This is when I'll be replying back to text, in a mannerable and professional way, without screaming or making all those bold letters. Because trust me, your clients, once you communicate with them in the jump and set those boundaries in the beginning, you won't get those, hey girl, I'm running 15 minutes late. No, if you're running 15 minutes late, I'm gonna have to charge you a late fee. Or, hey girl, I ain't gonna be able to make it in to my appointment today. Well, unfortunately, I will have to charge you a same day cancellation fee. Those are all boundaries, and that is also good customer service too, because for one, you've already communicated with them. It's in your booking site, it's in your email. You don't have to keep reminding customers that this is my policy. And some clients, they will follow your policy, they will read your policy, and they will do everything your exact policy say. And if there might be some that might go against the policy, then this is where you remind them. But yelling and putting all in your booking site, you don't have to do that. These are just policies. And then one of my rule of thumb is, I do not put any of my policies in my website. I don't put them on my booking site. It is all it's all in my terms and conditions. So after someone books with me, I list all of the policy in my terms and condition, and they can agree to that. So once you agree to that, that is where you set that boundary, and you don't have to back and forth. Because one thing we get mixed up is our clients being our friend. Our clients are not our friends. These are people we service. These are people we build connections with through our work and things like that. So we cannot get business and friendship mixed up, because once you start considering your client as a friend, they're gonna act like a friend. They're gonna expect you to treat them like a friend. They're gonna expect you not to charge them cancellation fees. Then when you start, standing on business, then they'll be like, girl, I thought we was cool. No, you're a client. I'm your lash tech, and that's what it should be. We are nothing more than that. And that is where you set that boundary at. When you have that proper customer service, you won't have those late clients. You won't have those same cancellation day clients. You will have clients who respect you and respect your boundaries. In the beginning, communicate that with your clients, communicate that with people. Even if you are taking them as models, always communicate with them like, hey, this is my set price, this is my set hours, and this is what time I reply back to messages, and everything will go smooth. Another mistake to avoid as a beginner lash tech is overbooking yourself. So in the beginning, I know you like, man, I can't wait to be fully booked. But what does being fully booked look like to you? So some girlies may take up to 7 clients a day. Me personally, I can't do that. I cannot service over 3 clients a day, because for one, I've come to the realization, and I've been lashing for about 5 years. Honestly, my speed is still at a 3-4 hour speed, even after lashing for 5 years. So this is just my opinion. I cannot accept more than 3 clients a day, because making sure that the quality of the lash set is very important to me. It's very important. I need to make sure that each lash is isolated, no ifs, ands, or buts. So if that takes me 3 to 4 hours, I'm making sure that I'm setting aside 3 to 4 hours in my schedule, so that if anything may go wrong, or if something may go longer than usual, I'm not rushing. I never rush on a set. Overbooking what does being fully booked look like for you? Because when you're overbooked and you're taking all those clients in one day, you're basically burning yourself out. Now you don't want to do lashes. Now you're canceling at the last minute because, you know, things may happen. Like, in my opinion, when you're creating your schedule, when you're setting up your booking site, outside of your business hours, it's time for you. Like, you don't want to service all those clients. And like I said, it's just me personally, I only can accept 3 clients a day. 3 clients a day, and that's it. I cannot do over 4. I cannot do 4 clients. No, I cannot squeeze you in. No, I do not do after hours, because that time is set aside for something else. I do have a son, and I do have family, and I do have other things that I focus on outside of lashing. And I can't do those things if I'm taking 7 to 8 clients a day. So just keep in mind and just try your best to not overbook yourself, not take more than clients that you should be taking, because like I said, you will get burned out and it just won't be a passion to you anymore. So make lashing fun, make it enjoyable, make it something that you love to do without overburdening yourself, without overbooking yourself. Just to give you a list of everything we went over. So we talked about poor money management skills, having improper isolation and practicing, using low quality supplies, having no professional training, poor customer service, and overbooking. Those are all the things that you should avoid when you are first starting out, and making sure that you are creating a list, being organized, managing your money, managing where your time goes. Those are all important things that you should be focusing on as you start lashing. And that is all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Mwah.